Hey everyone, welcome to day 10 of the Spark Change Challenge. Can't believe we're at day 10 already. And tonight's session is on achievement and accomplishment. And as we've been doing, each time we go through the 6 domains, each time we cycle through, safety, boundaries, physical care, blah, 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 we're going to try and go a little bit deeper into each one. So last week, in the first time through the domains, it was quite simple stuff and looking at kind of almost surface level changes that we can make. And my plan is that each time we cycle through, we'll go just that little bit deeper. Which brings me to the subject of tonight's little mini session, and a really interesting conversation that I had with a client today that I thought needed to be shared. Hey Caroline, that fit very well with today. So we've talked a little bit about self-sacrificing and how putting in safety and boundaries is sort of the antithesis of aloha. I can't believe you're watching this from Hawaii. This is hilarious. Slow night in Waikiki. I that idea of safety and boundaries being a really important way of challenging the self-sacrificing tendencies. The idea of no being a full sentence and not having to justify why you're not wanting to do something and not wanting to cross a boundary. And I think the achievement domain is quite useful in this respect for challenging the unrelenting standards that so many of us carry. So, the well-known anecdote about therapists all being really high on self-sacrificing and unrelenting standards, if you do a schema questionnaire, is backed up by the research. And I think we've talked about that before, that it's different from other health professionals even, but that self-sacrificing, unrelenting standards, massive in our profession in particular. And what this client was talking about, hey Laura, something that really resonated with her that we spoke about was this idea that even if I achieve something, my automatic reaction to that, my automatic response to that is, well, if I can achieve it, it can't be worth very much. So completely setting ourselves up for repeated failures, because we're either setting the standards way too high to the point where you can't possibly, no one could meet those standards, or setting them and going, okay, I've set myself a realistic goal, but then going, once I've actually achieved that, but that doesn't count because, I achieved it. So it can't have been that hard. It's not actually an achievement. And I thought this was such an interesting idea to explore in a group, predominantly full of therapists, and to see if it resonated with anybody else. I can remember doing this at least 1,000 different times in 1,000 different ways. And I'm curious to hear if other people have experienced that one as well, but feeling like, if I can do it, it can't have been that hard. And the incredibly negative and unhelpful cycle that then sets up. So we've talked about what I've been doing as part of the challenge is trying to set myself realistic goals at the start of the day. So having kind of 2 or 3 things tops that I say, if I can get this done today, I'll be feeling really good about the day. And that might be something like, yes, Caroline can relate. I thought you might, yes. That might be something as simple as, I want to remember to have lunch today. It might be as something like, I want to get to some of those emails. I want to reply to some of those emails that I've been putting off. It does not have to be, I want to tick every single thing off my entire to-do list today. It might be, one of mine today was, I want to get to a couple of the overdue things on my to-do list. And if I get to 1 or 2 of those, I will count that as an achievement. Which brings me to the second part of tonight's little session. That idea of, as we've been looking at kind of each domain each day, I'm hoping it's not setting everyone up to think that, yeah, you only need to kind of concentrate on one area per day and you can ignore the rest until the next time we come around to that domain. What I'm hoping is, and what seems to be happening for me as I'm doing this and being quite purposeful about it, is that the domains are starting to integrate a little bit. So I noticed today when I was going through that to-do list and checking off a couple of the old things, slightly random, but I noticed that as I crossed off the item on the list, because I'm a big believer in the paper lists and crossing things off because nothing else feels as satisfying, I could kind of feel like it was almost like it was that inner child part. It was that 4-year-old part that had enjoyed the artsy game so much earlier in the week that was crossing this off and kind of going, yay, I did it. And that was unusual. That was something I hadn't noticed before. But I think as I'm paying more attention to that part and prioritizing that part, it's starting to come out in other domains as well. And I really like that. I think that's really cool. Or where as we're strengthening that relationship, as we're working on the R and that relationship between the inner child and the healthy adult, or however we want to describe it, creating kind of a habit of resilience almost. Yes, Caroline says, yay for the happy, proud child. It was a really nice moment. It was an odd moment, I'm not going to lie. It was sort of like, okay, but it was nice, and it made something fairly straightforward and mundane actually feel like a good achievement and feel like a bit of fun. So if we can start to, as we're looking at these different domains, start to think about ways to integrate them. So can we, we might be integrating boundaries and physical health by saying, no, I'm booked in for my yoga class, and this friend has called up and wants me to talk to them about online dating or something, but I'm going to prioritize, no, right now I need to do my yoga class. If you want to catch up afterwards, cool. But and then we're integrating safety, boundaries, relationships as well, because we're putting in a healthy boundary for a relationship, but the physical care as well. So I'm hoping as we continue to kind of cycle through the domains, we'll start to see more and more of these integrations happening quite spontaneously, but also we can plan for some of them as well. I never really expected spontaneity and achievement to kind of end up mixing, or integrating, but they certainly did, and quite spontaneously today. So I'm really enjoying the challenge. I hope you guys are as well. I'm learning a lot about how all of this stuff comes together, and how my brain works, and the assumptions that I've been living by without even realizing it for a long, long time. So thank you for sharing this with me. Aloha to Caroline. And I will see you guys all tomorrow when we will be back onto relationships and connection. And let me see if I can remember. This would be an achievement. I think it goes something like Aikuyana. She's like, it's a Hawaiian farewell for like God be with you, which apparently is not an odd thing to say in Hawaii. So Aikuyana, I think, and I'll see all of you tomorrow.